We're only a few weeks away from witnessing the debut of the long-awaited She-Hulk series on Disney+. But we can't help but notice that throughout the trailer, we've seen our titular heroine seems to go about her human form rather than her Hulk form. For today's video, we'll be sharing with you the reason why She-Hulk isn't staying in her Green Hulk form in the upcoming series. So make sure you tune in if you don't want to miss out. If you're an avid comics reader, you may have an idea of why She-Hulk isn't sporting her hero persona, and it's because she's not to draw attention to a certain character. To avoid bringing attention to herself and her affiliation with Jack of Hearts, Jennifer Walters is becoming She-Hulk at a slower rate than before. In She-Hulk number 5 by Marvel Comics, Jennifer tells the recently returned superhero that she's being discreet with her use of her abilities, because she doesn't want the Avengers to find out about Jack's return. For non-comic readers, you may be asking who Jack of Hearts is, and what happened to this character. Don't worry, we've got you covered. In She-Hulk, Jack of Hearts has made a comeback as the long-dead hero is unexplainably brought back to life. Jack met She-Hulk right away, and the two heroes got along remarkably well, as Jennifer Walters assisted him in readjusting to a vastly different world than the one he had been living in. However, Jack of Hearts became an enemy of the Earth's mightiest heroes after his previous demise, in which his powers detonated in Avengers Mansion and he also killed Scott Lang. She-Hulk understands that to prevent the Jack of Hearts from being the Avengers' next target, she must maintain a low profile, refrain from turning green, and avoid drawing attention to herself. This particular scene, where Jennifer admits she's doing her best to not draw attention, is depicted in She-Hulk number 5. Jack of Hearts and Jennifer Walters have dinner together in She-Hulk number 5 by Rainbow Rowell with art by Luca Maresca, Rico Renzi, VC's Joe Caramagna, and Jen Bartel. Jack of Hearts inquires as to why Jennifer isn't in her primary Green Hulk form, as she thought she preferred sticking with that appearance. Walters acknowledges that changing into She-Hulk and showcasing her abilities tends to make people pay more attention to her. Still, because no one is aware that Jack of Hearts has returned, the Avengers could object to him if they learned of it. Jack of Hearts isn't exactly getting the whole story from Jennifer Walters. While it's true that she doesn't want to change into her green She-Hulk form to bring attention to herself and Jack, she also hasn't told him about how Scott Lang's death also led to his death. Although Walters is aware that she'll eventually have to tell him the truth, she finds it difficult to explain what really transpired the last time Jack was on Earth. Going green and hulking out will ultimately draw the notice of her fellow Avengers, who will start to inquire about the hero's comeback. Thus, She-Hulk will have to be honest with Jack of Hearts. But for the time being, She-Hulk is keeping things low-key, remaining in her human form, and not utilizing her powers unless absolutely necessary, to keep Jack of Hearts a secret until she determines the best method to inform her fellow heroes of his return. Now, let's talk about the series CGI, because as far as we've seen, She-Hulk showcases a positive spin on divisive CGI. Tatiana Maslany, who plays She-Hulk Attorney-at-Law's CGI character, discusses how portraying a CGI character has benefited her performance even though opinions on the visual design are still divided. The principal character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe series is Jennifer Walters, a lawyer who specializes in cases involving superhumans, played by the Orphan Black alum. When Walters receives a blood transfusion from her cousin Bruce Banner, her world is turned upside down as she changes into a 6'7" superpowered version of herself. She now has to figure out how to control her powers and balance them with her regular existence. In a recent interview, Tatiana Maslany revealed that, unlike other superheroes, Jennifer Walters differs from the rest of the Marvel heroes. The actress was interviewed by Empire via The Direct in advance of She-Hulk Attorney-at-Law's Disney Plus premiere. Are you curious to know what the actress had to say? Then make sure you tune in to reveal what Maslany says about how portraying a CGI figure boosted her performance, and gave her the capacity to get into the notion of being an outsider. She's not a trained fighter at all. She could just flick someone and they'd go flying. This is one lawyer you don't want to find you guilty, the actress said of her character. You feel like a dork, but somehow also cool at the same time. We talked about how the process separates us from the other superheroes, which works for our characters as they're outsiders. The Hulk characters, however, are the ones in which visual effects are almost entirely used to bring the statuesque monsters to life. While the bulk of MCU heroes are brought to life with the aid of CGI, they are the ones. She-Hulk Attorney-at-Law appears to be a rare instance of few CGI characters surrounding the titular hero, save for Banner's Smart Hulk variant, Roth's Abomination, and Jamila Jamil's Tatiana. Though recent recent images suggest that the latter is largely brought to life practically. This contrasts with previous MCU titles that featured Ruffalo's Hulk. Speaking of CGIs, Maslany's Hulk version received a lot of criticism when the trailer was first revealed. Given that She-Hulk Attorney at Law's plot likewise seeks to explore Jennifer's hardships, as her life as an attorney is upended by her newly discovered abilities, it makes it likely that Maslany would be able to better convey her character's sense of loneliness by donning a CGI mocap costume. The CGI for She-Hulk Attorney at Law has many viewers feeling weary about the MCU show's visual effects, even though it may be helping its plot. Since then, the visual effects team and director Kat Coiro have both responded to criticism of the VFX, defending the character's appearance as being different from what viewers expect in comparison to Thanos and Ruffalo's grislier Hulk designs. Additionally, since the trailer was released about 4 months before the show's debut, some have defended the CGI by claiming that it's probably not yet complete. When She-Hulk Attorney at Law debuts on Disney Plus on August 17th, it will be impossible to predict how viewers will react to the show's CGI characters. Standing side by side with Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, fans and viewers couldn't help but compare the two Hulks and see that Maslany's CGI is worse. There are several reasons why She-Hulk's CGI was more challenging to perfect than Hulk's. First off, Jennifer Walters' green persona is much more recognizable as a person than Banner is. This implies that it might expose viewers to the uncanny valley. According to the uncanny valley theory, a humanoid object, such as a CGI character, appears more unsettling the more closely it resembles a human being. Second, since She-Hulk is a completely original character, VFX artists must start from scratch. Since Ruffalo's Hulk has been part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe since 2012's The Avengers, the VFX teams have had a lot of experience working on that character, and have a ton of reference material to draw from as well. Tatiana Maslany's first MCU project is She-Hulk. Thus, the VFX artists don't have the same luxury as Jennifer Walters. Another important factor most people don't know is that She-Hulk's form is supposed to be human-like. Although there have been numerous variations of the Hulk throughout the MCU's history, including the Smart Hulk from Avengers Endgame, they have all shared a similar appearance. The Hulk has never appeared particularly human, standing at a superhuman height with shoulders the width of a house. She-Hulk, in contrast, is well within the realm of human potential at 6'7". She's even more susceptible to the uncanny valley than Hulk because she resembles a human with a green tint. She has a considerably more recognizable human appearance than the Hulk, making her design much more difficult to perfect. For VFX effects artists, She-Hulk's design is challenging but not impossible. There are still several months before the She-Hulk television series debuts on Disney Plus. As a result, the footage showcased in it might not be the final version, as Marvel frequently conducts CGI and reshoots right up until the release date. The video avoided giving away a lot of narrative details and lacked Jennifer Walters' signature fourth wall breaks from the comics, so it might not accurately represent what the finished program will be like. The CGI for She-Hulk Attorney at Law has plenty of time to be improved, so that Jennifer Walters' alter ego can appear as good as Banner's on screen. And with that, we're ending today's episode about She-Hulk, and why she isn't staying in her Hulk form. Tell us in the comments section below what you think the VFX artist should work on to improve her look. Before you go, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel with the notification bell on for more videos like these. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.